Multiple encounters in the past 3-4 days. The encounter in Baramulla, another in Poonch. Incidentally, you've commanded both your battalion and your brigade, if I remember correctly, in Poonch, sir. And the third encounter in Kishtwar. Sir, this arc of terror seems to be expanding all over again.
Gaurav, over the last 5 years, there has been a very significant increase in violence, whether it be it terrorist violence or violence on the streets, that is stone pelting, etc. There has been a more orderliness and return towards the normalcy in the state. We've had the panchayat level elections nearly 5 years ago. A three-tier panchayat is in place. We've had the assembly elections very recently. Now,
Lok
as
Sabha
we head
elections.
towards the very crucial assembly elections,
Yes.
it is here now that the terrorists, the separatists, the other side have started to feel that now everything's going to be lost. And that is why, over the last few months, they are stepping up terrorist violence. They are stepping up, they are increasing their arc, as you said. The south of Peer Panjal, which was fairly dormant in the recent past, has been activated because the valley has got a very robust grid. So, all in all, the intent is very clear of the terrorists, of the other side, of Pakistan, because they're seeing everything getting lost. They want to instill fear in the minds of people. And I think these are attempts to try and disrupt the elections, but it is all the more important for us, for the state, for the country, for all parties, everyone, all stakeholders to come together and make sure that we hold these elections and hold them peacefully. And I am very confident the elections, the state elections, the elections to Jammu and Kashmir Assembly will be held.
Excellent. Just 2 days away now, sir. Ifra Jan, Amit Shah was speaking in Jammu and Kashmir where he spoke of terror being buried in Naya Kashmir. Saat pushto tak nahi nikal paega is what he said. It would be a thing of the distant past, perhaps a bad dream. Are leaders like Engineer Rashid and independents ensuring that there's a new leadership that's also emerging in Kashmir?
It's interesting, Gaurav Saab, because you come across as a nationalist, and today for the first time you are asking me if Engineer Rashid is indeed the new leader. That seems quite a, may I say, that doesn't seem in line with the usual Aaj Tak India Today policy, because you guys have always said, should we hear somebody who has a militant case? Should we give them a platform? And today you want to ask me if he's indeed a leader. So maybe you need to tell me what exactly has changed. And I actually welcome this shift towards civil liberty and human rights approach that you guys have taken. And I would hope that this is extended not just to Engineer Rashid and those who are fighting elections against Umar Abdullah, but this kind of approach is also extended towards other convicts and other prisoners of Jammu and Kashmir, 5,000 of them in
fact, he a convict?
who are lying in various jails in Jammu and Kashmir.
Is he a convict?
No, he's not. He's an under trial. I'm saying
Right.
5,000
No,
under
since you
trials
said convict, so I just thought I'll clarify
fact,
from you.
yes.
No, we on India Today, on India Today, we report facts as they emerge. So when action was taken against him, we reported facts, action being taken. Whatever was said in court, India Today reported facts. We go with facts without fear or favor. But let me bring in Tuhin Sinha into this conversation. National Conference accuses the BJP of using people like Engineer Rashid as proxies to cut vote of the National Conference leaders. That's the allegation that's being leveled. Engineer Rashid till the other day was an accused of very serious charges against the country. Suddenly, he's seen as a leader in Jammu and Kashmir, sir. Tuhin Sinha, you heard it, Rajan. Response, sir.
Everybody. You know, clearly the National Conference is in a very desperate situation. So last week they had spread the fake news that our state president, Ravinder Raina, had sent a letter to the Karyakartas to greet Engineer Rashid, which was clearly false, which was denied by the party. You know, you need to understand Kashmir is at a very important inflection point. The way Kashmir votes, it can either go back to the pre-370 days, which is what the Congress and the NC desperately, which is where the Congress and the NC desperately want Kashmir to be, but a vote in favor of BJP, because I still believe, I believe the BJP is sweeping Jammu at this point of time, 38 to 39 seats at least in Jammu, plus a few independents, will make a big difference. So, a vote against NC and Congress will consolidate on the gains made by the Valley post the abrogation of Article 370.
Okay.
Look at the way the Abdullah family has been raking up some very dangerous issues. 1 week ago, Omar Abdullah suddenly raised the issue of Afzal Guru. He, again brought the issue of Muslims being persecuted in India, which is absolutely false. Simultaneously, Rahul Gandhi met Ilhan Omar, whose position on Kashmir is well known to the world. So it's a very ominous coalition. The National Conference Congress has danger.
Sir, you've leveled some very grave charges, and Ifra Jan has her hand up. She wants to respond. General Saab, just give me a moment, since there's a political question. Let me quickly get a political response. Ifra Jan, please respond, ma'am.
Just quick answers. It's interesting. Tuhin Sinha says that National Conference wants to go back to pre-370 days. It's actually quite shameful for a national spokesperson to be saying this when right now an encounter is going on, and this year has seen dozens and dozens of encounters. So maybe it wouldn't be such a bad thing to go back to pre-370 days when unemployment in Jammu and Kashmir was just 7% as opposed to 28%, and when women's unemployment was 12% as opposed to 48% right now. He says the Jammu people will vote for them. That's quite being very confident. I mean, imagine converting a state, demoting a state from a state to a union territory, and then saying, "Ye log to hamare liye vote karenge hi." That's like the most atrocious thing to say. This is not how for granted you should be taking your voters.
Okay.
Tuhin Sinha,
quick response before I bring in General Dua.
Gaurav, since you observe rallies very closely,
one by one. Ma'am, you made your interjection. Let him quickly respond. Then I can take this forward.
One simple point I need to make over here. Did you see the...
Ma'am, I give equal time to both my guests, but let's quickly move on. Go on.
Did you see the response of the crowd in the heart of Kashmir when Amit Shah ji said that hum आतंकवाद को जमीन के इतने नीचे दफना देंगे कि 7 पुश्तों तक बाहर निकल पाए नहीं निकल पाएंगे.
We've seen the crowds. We'll also see how many of those crowds actually turn into votes when election results are counted. But I want to move on the substantive point. Sir, we heard Amit Shah. No point repeating what he said. But General Dua, you've served extensively. You've served extensively in Jammu and Kashmir and through multiple tenures. Sir, are we looking at new leadership emerging in the union territory, whether it's panchayat elections or block level elections, or people like Engineer Rashid? Because Ifra Jan says the other day you were accusing him of very grave charges, and today you're asking whether he emerges as the new leader. Sir, is Jammu and Kashmir moving away, as some say, from family-run parties and leaders?
Gaurav, this question is very political. Although I would like to steer clear of political viewpoints, but allow me to say this, a very quick answer to your question, and then I'll make a point. In the panchayat elections, which happened nearly 5 years ago, we did see a lot of new leaders, new faces being thrown up. Now, I'm not saying the old parties were not there. They are still there, directly or by proxies. But the fact remains that there were new leadership being thrown up. Now, it remains to be seen. We are going to see that starting day after tomorrow as to how much how much new faces will be thrown up, or how much these parties will stand to win. But allow me to make one point. And I was hearing my esteemed co-panelists talk. There are only 2 parties being represented here. Many more are not. I just want to make a point to all the political parties. In fact, I would like to appeal to not only the parties, all the parties, but all the stakeholders. I think elections mean the voter is going to cast their vote. The voters will speak their mind, and the new government will be formed. But I appeal to all the stakeholders and all the parties that this is the time that we must make the elections very vibrant. We must now forget our difference as far as all process is concerned. We must keep India first and come together for an election and defeat the designs of the other side of the Pakistan and other handlers that are terrorist organizations that are trying to defeat the elections.
That's a
That
very
is my
important
only
point
small
you make, sir. Ifra Jan, that's a point that everybody would take well. After all, we are all Indians first and keeping India first. Fight on all issues, but let's ensure that that vibrant process is really successful. If independents are contesting elections, if more people from Jammu and Kashmir are contesting, isn't that a good thing, ma'am?
Two quick points, Gaurav. Number one, when we see such a vibrant democracy in practice, when we see thousands of people voting, this is a tribute to thousands of National Conference workers who were gunned down and murdered in early 90s simply because they decided to conduct and participate in elections and not pick up the gun. So National Conference has seen this. We have sacrificed our blood. We have sacrificed our work for this. So nobody answers this better than us. And with due respect to my co-panelists, we need no patronization on this.
No, nobody's patronizing anyone.
Second point,
nobody's patronizing anyone. We're all Indians talking just as Indians to ensure that Pakistan's nefarious designs don't succeed.
You know, I told you why, Gaurav Saab, I told you why we understand this probably better than anybody else, because we have paid for what you're saying in blood. We have had our skin in the game.
So has the rest of the country, madam. So has the rest of the country. You know, Jammu and Kashmir has to get out of that syndrome that only they have shed blood.
Gaurav,
the entire country has shed blood, madam.
You know, Gaurav, I'll tell you why it's different for us. The office I work on, the floor, in the building I work on, the floor I work on, everybody has either had their father, brother, close associates being gunned down by militants. So we know,
and that is why we must all rise against terror. But 30 seconds that I have remaining on the show. Tuhin Sinha, terror remains a huge threat even today. For 45 terrorists killed, India has lost 20 of our braves, and that ratio is a big disadvantage for the security forces even 5 years after Article 370.
Gaurav, there has been a desperate attempt by vested groups to revive terrorism in the last few months, but they will be defeated. Overall, if you look at data, yes, the terror incidents have come down drastically. Whatever sediments of the past remain, that will be tackled very effectively, that will be tackled aggressively. But, the National Conference representative was talking of the sacrifice of the National Conference workers. While the workers may have sacrificed, fact is that Farooq Abdullah had abandoned Kashmir at the peak of militancy in 1990 and returned only in 1994. So the Abdullah family's credibility is suspect and people don't trust him.
Okay, I'll have to take this debate longer in the days and weeks ahead. But the fact remains, this is the time for all political parties to come together and ensure that Pakistan's nefarious designs do not succeed. Because if Pakistan loses now, it's lost all wars, it's lost terror. If it loses even now, it's lost the Kashmir battle completely. And we'll be tracking that story very, very closely. To all my guests, many thanks for joining me. I need to slip into a quick break. News and updates continue on India Today. Stay with us.
Shut the door. Your antics make me bored, cause I just came around to say hello.
Motorola Razr 50. Flip the script.
Hello, Moto.
India Today Conclave 2024. September 25th and 26th, Mumbai. Book your seat now. Visit indiatodayconclave.com.
ये मैं कोर्ट से बरी होके ना आ जाऊं तब तक मैं सीएम की कुर्सी पे नहीं बैठूंगा। उन्होंने कहा जी ये 10 साल चलेगा केस, कोई कह रहा है 15 साल चलेगा केस, कोई कह रहा है 20 साल चलेगा केस। तो केस ये अभी लंबा चलेगा। आज कोर्ट जितना कर सकता था, कोर्ट ने हमारे पक्ष में निर्णय लिया है, हमें बेल दे दी उन्होंने, ऐसे कानून में जिसमें बेल मिलनी नामुमकिन होती है। 2 दिन के बाद, आज से 2 दिन के बाद मैं सीएम की कुर्सी से इस्तीफा देने जा रहा हूं और मैं तब तक सीएम की कुर्सी पे नहीं बैठूंगा जब तक जनता अपना फैसला ना सुना दे। अगर आप मेरे को वोट देके जिताओगे और अगर आप कहोगे कि केजरीवाल ईमानदार है, तो चुनाव के बाद, उसके बाद जाके मैं सीएम की कुर्सी पे बैठूंगा, तब तक मैं सीएम की कुर्सी पे नहीं बैठूंगा।
मैंने चैलेंज किया ऊपर में स्टेज पे बोल के भी कोई सिख यहाँ पे जो खड़ा है किसी पार्टी से जुड़े नहीं है। कोई सिख यहाँ पे बोल पे भागलपुर में भी मुझे किसी ने बोला भी आप कड़ा नहीं डाल सकते, किसी ने कहा वो पगड़ी नहीं डाल सकते, किसने कहा वो गुरुद्वारे नहीं जा सकते। एक सिख यहाँ पे खड़ा होकर कह दे मैं बीजेपी अभी छोड़ दूंगा। अब बिल्कुल बॉर्डर पे सिख है भाई, देश की रक्षा वो करते हैं, उनको साबोटाज करने की कोशिश की है। राहुल गांधी खुद देश के नंबर 1 टेररिस्ट, अगर किसी को मेरे ख्याल से किस पे इनाम होना चाहिए पकड़ने के लिए, या देश का सबसे बड़ा दुश्मन जो जिसको लानना चाहिए एजेंसीज को, वो आज राहुल गांधी है।
ये पूरी तरह से बेवकूफाना और बचकाना बयान है रवनीत बिट्टू जी का। मुझे लगता है कि वो अपना राजनीतिक और मानसिक संतुलन दोनों खो बैठे हैं। ये वही रवनीत बिट्टू तो हैं जो राहुल जी के कसीदे पढ़ते हुए थकते नहीं थे। आपने खुद अपने चैनल पर उन्हें कई बार इंटरव्यू किया है। पर कभी भी चापलूसी में इतना संतुलन नहीं खोना चाहिए कि वो बिल्कुल ही बचकानी बात लगे। इसलिए मुझे नहीं लगता कि कांग्रेस को इस प्रकार के बेवकूफ़ाना, बचकाना और संतुलन खोई बातों पर कोई टिप्पणी करनी है।
Presented by Parul University, Vadodara, Gujarat.
Hello and welcome. You're once again with Elections Unlocked. Another season begins because we are back with elections. 2 big states are going to the poll